September 29, 1961. A quiet morning in Hamburg, Germany, turned into a nightmare when a newborn's first cry was cut short by a malformed spine, a tiny hand clenched in an impossible fist, and a life already condemned by a tiny white tablet tucked into his mother's medicine cabinet. That tablet was thalidomide, marketed as a wonder drug for morning sickness, and within weeks it would become the silent architect of a global tragedy that would scar a generation of children and reshape the very foundations of drug safety. In the early 1950s, the pharmaceutical landscape was a frontier of optimism. Post-war Europe, eager to rebuild, welcomed innovations that promised relief from the aches, fevers, and anxieties that plagued daily life. In 1953, the German company Grünenthal GmbH synthesized a new sedative, a derivative of the barbiturate family, and christened it Contergan. Its purpose was modest: to calm nerves, ease insomnia, and crucially, to quell the relentless nausea that tormented pregnant women. By 1957, the drug was approved in West Germany, and its reputation spread like wildfire across Europe, Canada, Australia, and eventually the United States, where the FDA's own warnings were quietly ignored. The allure of thalidomide lay in its apparent safety. It caused no overt toxicity in adult test subjects, and its sedative properties were gentle enough to be prescribed without a prescription in many countries. Mothers-to-be, desperate for relief from relentless vomiting, welcomed a pill that promised a return to normalcy. Within a year, millions of pregnant women had taken it, often unaware that they were ingesting a compound capable of crossing the placenta and interfering with embryonic development. What the medical community did not yet understand was thalidomide's devastating teratogenic potential. The drug disrupted angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, a process essential for the growth of limbs, ears, eyes, and internal organs in the fetus. By the 5th week of gestation, when the embryo's blueprint is being drawn, thalidomide could halt blood flow to developing structures, leaving them stunted, malformed, or absent altogether. The result was a spectrum of birth defects that would later be cataloged as phacomelia, a condition where the long bones of the arms or legs are absent, replaced by flipper-like appendages. Yet the tragedy was not limited to limbs. Many infants were born with cleft palates, heart defects, kidney malformations, and severe sensory impairments. In December 1961, a German pediatrician named Dr. Widukind Lenz began noticing a disturbing pattern. Babies born with phacomelia were appearing in his clinic, and their mothers all shared a common thread: recent use of Contergan. Lenz's meticulous case histories, combined with the investigative work of British pharmacologist Dr. Francis Kelsey, who had famously blocked thalidomide's entry into the United States, ignited a cascade of scrutiny. By early 1962, newspapers across Europe ran headlines screaming, "Contergan crisis, thousands of babies affected." The public outcry was palpable. Mothers who had taken the pill for a few weeks now faced a lifetime of caring for children whose bodies were irrevocably altered. The legal reckoning began in 1964, when thousands of victims filed lawsuits against Grünenthal. The German courts, initially hesitant, finally held the company accountable in a landmark trial in 1968. Grünenthal's defense hinged on the argument that the drug's teratogenic effects were unforeseeable, and that the company had complied with the regulatory standards of the time. However, internal documents unearthed during discovery revealed that Grünenthal's own scientists had observed anomalies in animal studies as early as 1958, but those findings were downplayed, and the drug continued to be marketed aggressively. The court ultimately found Grünenthal guilty of negligence, imposing a modest financial penalty and mandating a public apology, an apology that, for many survivors, rang hollow against the enormity of their suffering. Parallel to the courtroom drama, the scientific community launched a series of autopsies and post-mortem examinations that would forever alter pharmacovigilance. Pathologists dissected the malformed limbs, tracing the absence of vasculature to specific stages of embryonic development. Their findings confirmed that thalidomide's interference with the fibroblast growth factor pathway was the root cause of the malformations. These autopsies, painstakingly documented in medical journals, provided the first concrete evidence that a drug could cross the placental barrier and cause such specific, dose-dependent teratogenic effects. The knowledge spurred the creation of the pregnancy category, the 10th classification, a regulatory category reserved for substances proven to be contraindicated in pregnancy. The aftermath of the scandal rippled far beyond the immediate victims. In 1964, the United States passed the Kefauver-Harris Amendment, tightening drug approval processes and requiring manufacturers to prove both safety and efficacy before market entry. The European Economic Community followed suit, instituting stricter reporting systems for adverse drug reactions. Internationally, the tragedy birthed the concept of pharmacovigilance, a systematic approach to monitoring drug safety post-approval. Today, agencies like the European Medicines Agency, EMA, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, maintain databases that track millions of patient reports, a direct legacy of the thalidomide nightmare. Yet the story does not end with sorrow. In a paradoxical twist, thalidomide found redemption decades later. Researchers discovered that its anti-angiogenic properties could be harnessed to treat diseases characterized by unwanted blood vessel growth, such as multiple myeloma and certain complications of leprosy. Under tightly controlled conditions, the drug re-entered the medical arsenal, this time with rigorous pregnancy warnings and restricted distribution programs that ensure it never again reaches a fetus unprotected. The irony of a poison becoming a cure underscores the complex moral calculus of medical progress. Subscribe to the Autopsy Files for more stories like this.